Hey everybody, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. Mike Catalana, along with Dan Fates, who is festive in his holiday attire. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Now, you guys know we go to every game, but travel kept us from going, and the team wins. And they're stuck.
They're stuck in the winning seat. That was our biggest fear.
Yeah.
It wasn't the getting there. It was getting home for the holidays with our family. The Bills stuck in Chicago overnight, celebrating their third straight AFC East title.
Yeah, and I think it'll actually be, look, they want to be home. They want to be with their families. But I kind of like what Sean McDermott said. Like, guys, if we got to get stuck, I'm happy I'm with you guys. It's sort of the Bills family, especially after a win like this. And I think maybe they had a sense that this could happen, that they get stuck. They're hoping to come back maybe to Rochester and then drive back to Buffalo because the weather has been a mess. Now let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the positives first. How about the way this defense played?
Sure.
They gave up that first drive, touchdown, and you're like, oh boy. And this is against the Bears offense. The rest of the day, they shut them down.
Early on, it kind of looked like that defense that we saw against Miami, where the Bears were kind of playing bully ball with this Bills defense, not able to really answer the bell just yet. But then they kind of settled down, and more importantly, Mike, the way that they had that sudden change defense, after turnovers that the Bills offense had, they bared down. Off the 3 turnovers from this Bills offense, just 3 points allowed from the defense.
Yeah, and Justin Fields did nothing running the football, which is what you really worry about. And I think you saw it, and you and I mentioned it watching the game a few times. There were plays. I noticed one by Ed Oliver, one certainly by Greg Rousseau. The linebackers when they came in. You can't over-pursue this guy. You got to stay in your zone there, keep him from making a big play, and they did that the entire day.
It's that 111th, Mike.
Yes.
It's the 111th, and it's the Genicotral wingspan that Greg Rousseau and some of these other guys held. It was just about, don't let Justin Fields beat you with his legs. Make somebody else or something else beat you, and the Bills were able to do it. And again, even when they were trailing in the first half, Mike, it never really seemed like full-on panic or unnecessary. It just seemed like you had to get something going.
That's a good point. I don't think there was panic because, look, they're the better team. And they were going to eventually, I think, play better. But you do start worrying bigger picture when you see the offense make mistakes. And the mistakes were, I mean, Josh Allen, he's coming off of Player of the Week. He's a great player. But, man, when he has bad moments, they're really, really ugly. And he had the 2 picks. Now, I do think the win impacting it. I know Jalen Hurts last week talked about his hand being frozen, trying to make throws. Made a few really bad decisions. He got away with some of them, and he threw 2 picks.
Yeah, the second one was the worst. To James Cook, again, when all you really needed to do was just eat up some clock. Ken Dorsey's expression in the booth pretty much said it all as he kind of put his head in his hands. Just more of that, not having a ton of rhythm at times with this passing game. Stephon Diggs, not a factor. Josh talked about it after the game, the fact of he's not going to force the ball to anyone. He doesn't feel like that's a good thing. And you've talked about it too, Mike, where completion percentage is a decision-making stat. And so Josh threw 25 passes, completed 16 of them. It was okay through the air. But Mike, it was the running game.
Look, he's got to admit it. It was the running game. Look, I don't care that the Bears' defense isn't any good. The Bills have not run the ball well sometimes against defenses that aren't considered that good. I thought they opened up some holes, and Singletary said, like, sometimes it was just me and the safety. Like, it did open up for them offensively. They did stick with it. Then they went away from it a little while. Again, it's Christmas. I'm trying to be positive here. I didn't like Ken Dorsey getting away from the run game there a little bit, even though Josh's mistakes were less about the play call and more about the execution. But when they did run it, they were popping. They were getting through, and I thought both Singletary and Cook looked really good.
I won't be snarky. I won't say the fact that I think Mike and I could have ran for 30 yards a pop in those holes. I could say it, but I won't, because this was an impressive game. This is the game that everybody in the comments tells me about. This was the exact game. That you needed something else. And for the longest time, where I have always said, the passing game can set up the running game or mimic that. Today, you got the chunk plays on the ground. That was where their offense came from. 254 yards, the most they've had all season. Devin Singletary, over 100. It was the first Bills player to have 100 rushing yards in a game, running back, in over 15 games. So it had been a while since they got it going. I'll admit it. It was fun. I've always been a fan of being able to run. Like, I'm not against running the ball. I'm against running the ball and not doing it well.
Yeah.
They did it really well today.
And we have talked about days when Josh is struggling or the weather, and this was a combination of the two. Now, again, I'm going to try to stay in this positive mode, so I'm going to talk about the special teams. I'm going to say, hey, Nyheim Hines caught one of the punts.
A punt.
And they did make an extra point. Is there anything else we can talk about?
It's pretty easy. Obviously, I do like the report cards. I'll probably do one on Monday. It'll be a pretty easy grade for that.
Now, look, I'm not worried about Tyler Bass.
No.
The weather was a mess,
Yeah.
and he missed those couple of kicks, and that was bad. And you see the ball go flying. I'm worried about Hines making his decisions. You know, he let one bounce, and it goes
Second
to the
straight
one.
week.
He fumbled another one.
Yep.
He really struggled
Yep.
back there. And you can't have that because they're going to be playing in weather. It's usually the veteran guy that you go for there. And the coverage units were awful on the kickoffs, on the punts. And then they had penalties. When he did have a good return, they had a penalty. I'm sorry. We hear from this team all the time, this guy's there because he's great on teams, and he's great on teams, and we need people on teams. Well, then stop doing so many stupid things. How about block somebody sometime?
Yeah, special teams was not special today. It was the special teams, especially early on too, hurt the offense by
Field position.
Field position was just all dictated by special teams. They weren't able to flip the field, and it wasn't really until the third quarter that the Bills had any starting field position to get momentum going. But we're going to be nice. It's the holiday season.
Hey, they've won 6 in a row. They won the division title 3 straight years.
And they needed to because Cincinnati and the Chiefs both winning as well.
Right.
The Bengals did their best to try and blow that game.
Yeah,
but
I mean, come on. Bengals are up 22-0. New England hadn't made it to midfield. It looked like a Patriot-coached offense for half, and then they got a pick six, then they got back in it, and they blew the game at the end. It would have been nice for the Bills to have that loss. Kansas City, kind of cruised through that win against Seattle. They never were really challenged in that one. But it's all going to really show up. Not all come down to, but pretty close. You go to Cincinnati and win, all that's left is the Patriots at home to close it out and be the number 1 seed, and I think that will make a huge difference.
Massive. That look-ahead forecast, 50 degrees.
Yeah.
Some rain in the forecast.
What's going on with that?
50.
Balmy Cincinnati.
I know a lot of you are locked in your houses, snowed in, iced in, wind in. Hope you're staying safe. Hope we could bring you a little bit of this. I think that also, I don't know how much that affected the Bills, knowing what they had back home. Things were thrown off kilter. They didn't leave at their normal time. They're obviously staying in Chicago another night. But, hey, I said it before. I said it on our live show on Thursday. The Bills didn't need to cover any spread. They didn't need to prove anything against the Bears. In those conditions, you just needed to win by 1. The Bills played well.
Yeah, it ended up, it wasn't as close as the score, but none of that matters now.
Yep.
They win the game, and they move on with a victory.
And they actually, thinking about it now, they made all the adjustments in the second half where this team has labored to get anything going offensively.
Kind of forgotten late in the first half, Sean McDermott did not call a timeout. And I was like, why didn't he at least force that? And I think he was saying to himself, it's been bad enough.
I agree.
I don't want anybody fielding a punt here, even though, maybe if they would have thrown a pass and you would have saved a timeout. Plus, it was hard to kick a field goal in the other direction. I think he wanted to get in the locker room, start screaming at people.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that a lot, but I bet you he lit them up, and they came out and played much better.
I think it sends a message, the message that he sent to the offense by not giving them an opportunity.
I don't trust you.
Speaks volumes to wake up. He always gives that offense a chance to double dip and score at the end of the half. They're the best team in football. They talked about that. That was the one thing they got right in the broadcast, that they are so good in 2-minute drills. He didn't allow them to do it. I think it woke them up in the second half.
Greg Gumbel calling the game in the city of
Chicago.
Yeah, Chicago.
Not
right?
great, Bob.
That's their accent. That's the Chicago. He's a Chicago guy. And Adam Archuleta, I know you played in the NFL. It felt like it was the first time he'd ever seen the Bills play. I mean, seriously. He says Josh Allen doesn't like to run unless he has to. What world are you living in?
We were supposed to be nice.
Well, I don't have to be nice to him.
Yeah.
No. Anyhow, I know he was a good player 20 years ago and as a safety for the Rams. He's still doing games. Anyhow, again, I'm done with the negativity. It's time to be positive. Enjoy your holiday. We're going to have plenty of coverage, and we're going to get you ready because Dan and I are going to Cincinnati. Yeah. We'll be back doing that again. So your Bills have won 6 in a row. Your Bills have won the AFC East 3 years in a row. Patriots are dying. Jets are a mess. And then we'll see what the Dolphins do. But for the Bills, it doesn't matter because the division is clinched. For our entire team, including Jenna Cottrell and Dan Fates, I'm Mike Catalano. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Enjoy your holiday. Celebrate with your friends and family. Be safe in Buffalo if you're in Buffalo. I know it's rough. It's a lot different in other parts of the state, but I know it's really rough in Buffalo. So enjoy that, and we'll see you next time on Buffalo Plus.